Hello everyone, and welcome to a special show match featuring Tempo Storm's Rainad up against Tempo Storm's Eloise. My name is Frodan, and today I'm joined by Trump.
Hey.
And together we're going to broadcast a best of 3 and show some new cards from Knights of the Frozen Throne. Trump, thanks for joining me.
Of course, great to be here and really happy to be able to showcase some of these cards. One could say that they're pretty happy little cards.
Certainly. I think Knights of the Frozen Throne hype is off the rails right now. I think everyone can't wait for the new expansion. Already some of the reveal cards are really cool. In fact, Rainad and Eloise already revealed the card together with the Nerubian Unraveler, which is a 6-mana 5/5 that makes spells cost 2 more. And between each game of this show match, we're going to also showcase a new card, which I'm looking forward to it. I actually haven't seen it yet, so I'm trying to process some of the new cards as we go through them, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I've actually gotten a few hints. I mean, I've looked at them, so I'll drop a few hints towards them. I'm surprised that you're able to resist the urge to just look at them.
Oh, so you already know the cards?
I do know the cards. They're very cool.
Okay. Well, maybe you have to carry me then if I'm off on my analysis.
Sure.
Eloise versus Reynad.
Have a Warlock up against Hunter, 2 of the rarest classes that you'll see in Unigoro these days. And looks like Rainad is going to go with a Quest Warlock up against a Quest Hunter.
Yeah.
That should be a clash of which is the least bad quest in this position.
You know, I actually rated both of these quests 5 stars. Back in the day.
I remember very fondly about watching your reviews, Trump. In hindsight, what would you rate them? You think the 1 stars at this point?
Yeah, for sure. But it's cool to see both of them playing offbeat decks. Rainad maybe was inspired by your Warlock dress to make Warlock great again.
Yeah, don't remind me. That Gul'dan cosplay was not exactly what I signed up for, but it was a fun thing nonetheless. And I look forward to seeing if Warlock can make a comeback here. It's gotten the board very early with Flame Imp and the Firefly, but Rainad very unfortunately drew patches, so that's going to kind of stifle his deck development a little bit. And the big thing about Lakari Sacrifice is that a lot of times when you're trying to discard your hand and whatnot, you just fall too far behind before Lakari Sacrifice effect kick in. But Rainad's got that Doom card, so maybe he can start getting chugging if he's able to land something with the Malcazar's in.
Yeah, it's possible that Rainad is actually just playing Zoo right now with the slight handicap of having Lakari Sacrifice. That's what he's known for. He's the grandfather of Zoo at this point.
If we can remember a few years ago, yeah, Rainad was the one really popularizing the deck. Looks like Eloise is playing the Hunter Quest, and she's, I think, at 3 out of 7.
I think that was 2.
And
there we go, 3.
Is it 2?
Oh, 4. Yeah, there we go.
She's at 4
yes.
now. Right.
That's fast.
It's fast, but is it enough? And then, you know, the bigger question, too, is she going to be able to give enough time to be able to play the Hunter Quest?
Right. Rainad's putting on some serious pressure, having drawn both Flame Imps in the opening. And that's fine against this Hunter, since that Hunter is actually surprisingly a control deck when you're running the quest usually. You just want to survive, get there.
Who do you think's favored head-to-head, then, between the Hunter and the Warlock?
It's interesting. Both of these players are right now, they look like they're very aggressive. But they're both going to run out of fuel pretty fast after they do these trades. They both kind of wanted to get to the late game. The Hunter wants to clean things out in the early part of the late game, whereas Rainad, the longer the game goes, the better it is for him, because infinite 3/2s are pretty good.
Ooh, well, Eloise picks up the 1-mana minion, but it's too much mana to play Queen Carnassa this turn, so she has to stall development. And that gives Rainad an ability to play Doomguard, but the Malcazar's Imp is also going to go down, I think. At least she should take down the Malcazar's Imp, which means the Doomguard doesn't get the synergy with the Malcazar's Imp. And also, Rainad's kind of like at a low enough life total where it might be a little unfortunate for her.
Yeah, Silver War Golem is nice. Doomguard is unfortunate. Rainad has that 2 out of 6. It looks like it's likely that this quest won't be done by the end of the game. Rainad has to make the decision of whether or not to protect his wolf. He's going to do it.
It's more like the decision whether or not to admit he mispositioned.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So here comes down Queen Carnassa, and with that, the Raptor Patriarch as well. So
nice.
as best as a tempo swing as possible for Eloise.
That's right. That's the best card that could have been on the top for her. It seems like Eloise might be running the all one-drop Hunter deck. I haven't seen a single card that isn't one yet.
Right, even the spell, Tracking, was a 1 mana cost. So she could be just trying to fish for whatever is in her deck to help her finish the game. I wonder if she has anything like Kill Command, though. Like, maybe that helps her get the damage she needs to finish the game at this point.
Maybe. In fact, if it wasn't for Tracking, if that were another one-cost card, she would have completed the quest in turn, really. All right, Carnassa's Brood, that's what you want to see? She wants to see all Carnassa's Broods. Oh. That's actually the big thing which made the card, like, overrated. Players just kind of assumed that they would draw a lot of those. But it turns out it's only about 50-50.
It's true. Eloise now has to decide if she wants to kill a minion off the board, and which one she does want to trade into, or she can attack aggressively and let Rainad try to find a lethal. But with you know, the Darkshire Councilman on board, it does become a very scary proposition for Warlock to potentially find lethal damage.
Yeah, Rainad's at 10 out of the 14 health that Eloise has, and that deck definitely runs Soulfire. Any minion that Rainad plays is already +1. So it's actually kind of a puzzle also on which one of these 3 minions you kill, because there's valid reason to kill any of them.
That's right. The Direwolf Alpha is represents 4 attack. The Doomguard's the most attack. Darkshire Councilman is the most latent attack. And good thing she did, because that Firefly would have been lethal for Rainad.
Yeah.
Assuming he positioned correctly. I'm assuming Rainad can do that.
Alright, well, big draw on the Lakari Fellhound there. It's going to protect him for a turn. Wow, this is really close. That Lakari sacrifice is probably a bit too late at this point. Maybe you mulligan it against Hunter. In fact, you probably did, but I have the feeling that Rainad knew that Eloise was going to be smart in the Quest Hunter.
Yeah, and you want to showcase the quest too. I mean, you don't want to necessarily just go for the most try-hard decks. This is a show match. They're trying to have fun. Rainad is smiling. Eloise is probably trolling him as usual. Oh man, would you trade in this position to try to reduce Hunter's ability to kill you, or would you just go for the pressure and hope that you win here? You played a lot of Zoo in your lifetime, Trump.
Yeah, I've also surprisingly played a lot of that Hunter, and I know that there's very unlikely to be any burst damage. So the most that Eloise can probably pump in is 5. So I think you do go face here. Well, actually, on second thought, I would probably clear the Carnassa with the Doomguard. Reason being, you couldn't get past the Fellhound then.
The Dream? Does she have
boy.
anything besides these broods? Jewel McCall?
One of the better ones she could have gotten. She's looking for a Tundra Rhino. Tundra Rhino, I think, would have been lethal. Maybe. 358. Yeah, that would have been lethal.
That would have been so sick to have Tundra Rhino off all these little broods getting charged.
That is the dream right there.
Well, Eloise needs to trade to survive, but she has also her lethal set up.
Wow, it's going to come down to Rainad's top deck.
It's really close. Oh, he's the life tap. No, wait, no, Patches. He drew Patches. Oh,
too bad.
Rest in pepperonis, Rainad. Eloise takes the first game in this best of 3.
Well, that is actually the dream of how Queen Carnassa works. Eloise managing to draw like 4 of those broods right off the top. Very nice. And as I alluded to, we definitely have some happy little cards to reveal here, starting with the Happy Ghoul. 3 mana, 3/3, costs 0 if your hero was healed this turn. So if you enjoyed your 0 mana 5/5s, well, now you've got a 0 mana 3/3 across a lot of different classes that can use it.
Interesting, yeah. And I mean, this obviously fits in Priest right off the top of my head, and it only counts if your hero was healed, though. It's not if you healed a minion. So you have to kind of sacrifice a little bit of your board tempo to heal yourself, But you get a free 3/3 on turn 2 as early. That's the fastest, I guess you could do that. That's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, that's actually what I was just thinking about. Maybe this is the Priest 2-drop right now. It always used to be a joke, and it still is, that Priest turn 2 is just healing yourself and then threatening him out. But now you can heal yourself and legitimately play 2 0-mana 3/3s. That's a good turn 2 play. And even if you just play 1 Happy Ghoul, a 2-mana 3/3 where you heal yourself, that's pretty good as well.
True, and there's also, a handful of cards that let you heal your own hero as well, like the Earthen Ring Farseer or the Gadgetzan Socialite.
Oh, you remember the Socialite. Very good. Is that because it looks like you?
That's right, man. It's my next cosplay. Gul'dan was the first. Gadgetzan Socialite's the second. You're so good at uncovering those, Trub. And I think, this gives some really cool opportunities to tempo for a class that normally doesn't. But I'm sure there's more application that we're not even thinking of, we talk about lifesteal. Lifesteal is one of the big things about this expansion. So almost every class that has access to a lifesteal can play this card for free if you have Wickerfang Burn Bristle, or there's a lot of new cards that have lifesteal too. Corpse Taker is the newly revealed one as of today. We saw it, and if you get that lifesteal ability, you can attack that turn and play this for free as a 3/3. And we know 0-mana cards like Ginyu Tempo can be very, very good in a lot of those constructed decks. In Arena, I actually think that this card might see even more play than you might expect in a constructed deck. So be on the watch out for the Happy Ghoul.
Yeah, I mean, Wisp doesn't see play just because it's a 1/1, but 3/3, now you're talking. And other classes that are good with it. You mentioned Wicker Flame, but Paladin has a lot of good cards. Even True Silver Champion heals yourself, so you turn 4, equip the True Silver, maybe you drop a happy little ghoul around with it. And True Silver on turn 4 is already a strong play. Add a 3/3 to it. Wow, now you're in business.
Absolutely. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed our first card. We're going to go back to game number 2 here. Hopefully they're not spending too long to get into the next game here. I wonder if they just did every quest that's not a viable quest. So they might see some Druid quests, some Paladin quests.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I would look forward to that.
Eloise versus Reynad.
Exactly those two classes, Druid versus Paladin. I swear I did not look at this beforehand. They just sent us the video, and we're just doing it live.
You are quite the prophet there.
And, I'm a little scared because I think that the Paladin quest, if I recall correctly, is statistically the lowest win rate out of all the quests. So Eloise probably has the edge here, unless Rainad can get this crazy strong Galvadon that Eloise can't.
Man, Galvadon. That song that Kibler and Miss Kibler created, that's a pretty awesome song.
Yeah. Not as good as your song, Trump.
Oh, thank you.
Build a Zombies that of course hit a very soft part.
I truly can't wait to build a Zombies. Rainad with a good start. Looks like your usual mid-range Paladin start. He skips the Kaleidosaur because there's no need to play the quest that early. Eloise looks like she's got a good hand as well. She's got a Wrath into the Elder Long Neck, which is best Rager.
That's right. It's a 3-mana 5/1 that adapts every time you are holding a 5-attack minion or more. She's going to go for it right now and try to get something good off of it.
Yeah, Plants is a pretty good one. She was looking for probably Plants as a priority, and then Divine Shield as the second.
Yeah, the plus attack, of course, is redundant, and the +1/+1 just gets farmed by what things are on board. Rainad gonna play his second Hydrologist. Looks like he went for some Murloc synergy with the last Kaleidosaur quest. That's a pretty interesting direction because most people tend to just go for any kind of big buff and sticky minions to start things off.
That is interesting. And he skips the Getaway Coda, which was a good traditional pick for Repentance, knowing the matchup that the Druid's going to be playing some big cards.
Yeah, I have to imagine that Rainad also has the Primal Fin Champion in his deck,
too. Oh, absolutely.
That is a card that returns every buff that is played onto it. And Eloise doesn't really have much good stuff, so she's just going to take it a little bit slow here and use the Earthen Scales to try and fight back for board.
That is mark of a good player, making sure to use your cards even when they're not the ideal circumstances. If you don't use them, oh man, there's Rainad. Given the slight nod of,
oh,
yep, I just got it.
Oh man, I think Rainad's gonna win this without even playing the quest at this point, which is a little against the spirit of the show match. But I wouldn't blame him because I think the Paladin quest is probably the way to lose the game if you just only focus on buffing minions and not focused on board.
Well, you never know. There's quite a lot of expansions in the future. I think we might have a chance of seeing that last Kaleidosaur actually become strong someday.
Sure. There's definitely a chance, and I think even the Lucari sacrifice, even though it lost last game, that's the Warlock quest. I think there's if there's enough lifesteal, maybe that quest becomes much more viable as well.
Yeah, any of the quests really could become viable. Maybe other than the Rogue one. That one sucks.
Well, you say that, but I mean, all it takes is just a little bit extra juice, and all of a sudden we're back complaining about 5/5s again.
That's true.
Eloise goes for a wild growth play. I was kind of looking at the Stranglethorn Tiger and Menagerie Warden combo, maybe try to remove, but she's just going to try to ramp now and use that mana advantage over time.
All right. Rainad's going to be able to 1, 2, 3 these quests out right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and poor Eloise. She's Druid. How is she going to deal with a 8/4? 11/4, rather.
Does she have Naturalize in the deck? Does she have a Silence? If she has a Silence, she could do it, but otherwise she's staring at death.
And that Repentance that Rainad shows looks like it's going to play perfectly into Eloise's big taunt right now.
Right. Oh, man, she was... Oh, actually, I apologize. I thought that was Menagerie Warden. That is a Dark Irakoa, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can also play the Menagerie Warden list for this with Giant Anaconda, but Dark Irakoa is also very
I would play a Menagerie Warden as well. That's the dream right there. Menagerie Warden the Tiger. Ooh. Cleverly sidestep stuff by going with the Tiger. Earthen Scales here.
Stalls it for one turn, but in the end, she still can't deal with this not so gentle Megasaur. Very violent one, if you ask me. Puts Eloise down to her last turn, and all she has is a taunt and Wrath to try to slow it down.
Yep, I think that gentle Megasaur is cosplaying Galvadon.
Good impression, if you ask me. Ooh, okay, here we go. Maybe Eloise can make the comeback here. She's got the Tiger. Oh no.
Ooh.
The second Megasaur Trump.
Just looking for... Wow, that is not good. Plus attack, really? Wind Fury, +1/+1. Those all would have worked.
Yeah, Rainad got none of the offensive ones. I think at this point, Rainad may just be chuckling to himself, solidifying his own belief. And perhaps the vicious cycle of how unlucky it is to not be able to finish the game right here. But he is in a fine position as long as he's able to deal with Eloise's next up. I think Poisonous is just as good to set up for the next turn. I guess the question is if he wants to attack with Finja right now to get that damage in.
That's true, and he's going to make the decision too because that makes any of his cards lethal, including Silverhand Recruit. Alright, and with the Poisonous, that locks Eloise out of the taunt. So even though it wasn't an immediate lethal, that sets up lethal just fine.
Yeah, we got there. At least as far as I know, Eloise could nourish for cards and draw defensive tools, but she would need a little. She needed a lot. She used both of her rats, for example. So I'm not thinking anything immediately off the top of my head. She's gonna draw anyways. Picks up 2 duds and an Innervate and concedes. Innervate only allowed her to play Nourish, which just is redundant. Yeah. So that's gonna be game 2 to.
I like Rainad's chuckling there as he moused over his quest. He was like. Yeah. I almost got there halfway through the quest.
Yeah, there you go. Just win with Murloc pressure, which I think we've seen a handful of times. And that brings us to our second card that we're going to reveal. All it's titled for me is Warlock, so let's go ahead and take a look. Rare. 5 mana, 4/5. We call it Despicable Dreadlord as a rare card. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. It's also a demon.
Yeah, that's a strong demon. As the mayor of Value Town from all the way from vanilla, I looked at the stats and I was like, oh, that's a Yeti. And hey, for just 1 more mana, you're getting an Arcane Explosion every single turn.
That effect is really powerful because usually Warlock is known for symmetrical damage. It damages not only your opponent but also damages your own stuff. You look at Hellfire, the most recently released cards like Fellfire Potion and Abyssal Enforcer. They always hit yourself too. This is asymmetrical. This only hits your opponent, and it's every turn, which your opponent wants to remove, unless, of course, you're playing things like an Acolyte of Pain and Frothing Berserkers for damage. Those are the only cards that you'd probably want to get damage a little bit. But in this case, Warlock's been looking for ways to fight back for board, and this card might be it, Trump.
You're right. This card seems to fit the mid-range style, or maybe even, well, yeah, kind of a mid-range or even a control style. Maybe not so much aggro due to its low attack power, but it's just got so much value packed into one card, which I'm impressed by how many of the cards they've released. They seem like they bundle a lot of value together. And it's good to push Warlock in a bit of a different direction. They haven't really had a mid-range deck yet, but this just might be the card that makes it work.
Yeah, there's a handful of like really decent cards in Warlock right now that just kind of need to be tied together. People are looked at Lakari Fellhound, the 4-mana 3/8 taunt. That's a very solid card, but just doesn't have enough follow-up to it because it's such low attack. Maybe that softens up enough that the Despicable Dreadlord is able to clean it up. Or, maybe you need something a little bit more reliable to carry you over because we have Tar Lurker in Warlock and Abyssal Enforcer, and you just need a little bit more extra. And also, if you look at other formats, in Arena, this card is fantastic for clearing off for a class that doesn't have access to that 1 mana or 1 damage very conveniently. Even if you just kill 1 minion with it, it's already worth it in that format.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic in Arena. Even if it just said 5 mana 4/5 deal 1 damage, it might be good enough in Arena. But at the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, and that's like a constant repeated effect. It's not even just one time. This is going to be a great card in Arena. And this kind of matches maybe some sort of style where you can go turn 5 Despicable Dreadlord, turn 6 the Dread Inferno, and then turn 7 the Big Daddy Abyssal Enforcer.
Yeah. There you go. And, there's a lot of demon synergy, too, that can come with it. Not only, of course, the normal demon synergy in Standard, looking at Demon Fire and Blood Fury Potion, but there's also a lot of wild synergy. There's Void Caller, which can pull it out of your hand and start having immediate demon pressure, and then there's Demon Heart. I can see it going into a wild Reno Warlock and using it as another board clear tool against a lot of those aggressive decks. Everyone is really... tired of dying to Pirate Warrior, maybe you drop that Despicable Dreadlord in Wild with the Reno deck and stall for 1 turn before Reno Jackson. I love seeing cards like this because I think Warlock needs a lot of help, and I think it just got it, Trump.
I agree. I was looking at this and it's like, wow, it's actually a reasonably statted minion for Warlock. And of course, Warlock's got the advantage of life tap, which is why their cards have tended to be less good. But this is a card that stands by itself and is just good.
All right, cool. So that's our second card reveal. Let's go ahead and finish the show match in good fashion. Rainad versus Eloise. Who's going to come out on top today?
Eloise versus Reynad.
Maybe they're mixing it up here. Rainad's going to also play the Druid Quest. And this time, Eloise is turning to the Mage Quest.
You can actually see Rainad starting to react to Eloise. He's like, why are you playing that one? That's actually a good quest.
Yeah, it's a very good quest. It's possibly, one of the best quests, not just for this expansion, but for the future. I mean, Quest Mage can always be a threat, and that effect, take an extra turn from Open the Waygate, is one of the strongest effects in Hearthstone. Period.
It is. That quest actually got a pretty big boost, too, with the new Forge Wrap, since it's a new card. I actually can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's really good. It gets you that mirror image.
I'm trying to remember too. It gives you a mirror image into your hand.
Mm-hmm. And I know that Eloise is probably unlikely to run any 4-cost cards in that deck other than the Primordial Glyph Blizzard there. Primordial Glyph, also a great card. But it should find some... It should definitely be tried out there, at least.
Mm-hmm. It is the Ghastly Conjure, is what we are referring to. 4 mana, 2/6, put a mirror image spell into your hand. Now, in the meantime, Jungle Giants with Blood of the Ancient One is certainly curious. And Rainad just got N'Zoth the Corruptor.
Oh, did you see that? He just looked into the camera. I think that was an eye roll right there. He thinks about it for a moment. Do I have any death rattle cards in my deck? I'm guessing no.
Yeah, and adapt doesn't really count. You know, you don't get the living spores minion back with the N'Zoth. It's a death rattle minion base.
Looks like Eloise.
Eloise is playing.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, Eloise is playing a Giants mage, and she told me that she really likes this version over the Antonidas version. Do you have a preference, Trump?
I used to think that it was going to be the giant version that would work out more, but just due to meta, I suppose, being slow in tournaments, you can actually afford to go for the more secure thing of Exodia. There are just some things that stop these giants, including Taunt Warrior, which Exodia Mage can get around.
Yeah, and I mean, Exodia Mage can't really deal that easily with the Volcano Sword. What about a second one? If he's able to get the cannot be targeted.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
That adapt is pretty good. Oh man,
That's
the Wind
right.
Fury and the plus attack. That is going to be brutal. But Eloise does have one answer to it, and
2 answers, in fact. Double Doomsayer.
Will she
Gonna
drop the
get
second
greedy
one?
and use only one?
Oh.
The greed. Eloise probably thinks that she can get away with this because the Doomsayer is hard to answer, but Rainad happens to have Wrath and Swipe, and she had the choice of going for a second Doomsayer to ensure that she'd be able to take the action next turn onto the board. But now that she doesn't, she might just die in a couple turns here.
Yeah, it's a very legitimate risk there, especially because it seems like that second Doomsayer might get value against the Druid, especially with the Frostbolt. But boy, that is a menacing board by Rainad, representing 18 damage, which is how much health Eloise has.
Neither of these players are laughing anymore. I think they've gotten pretty serious at this point because they realize that this is the end of the show match, and one winner will be determined at the end of this. Eloise plays Ice Block because she knows that that's getting popped next turn, and Rainad can continue to put the pressure on.
Yeah, Eloise is still a ways off of completing that quest, and there's just no answer to these Volcanosaurs.
Wow, what a different game it would have been here. The Blood of the Ancient One, just icing on the cake, doesn't even need the Ancient One itself to come out here. Eloise needs some way to stall with Freeze. She has more Frost Nova, she has Blizzards in the deck. Maybe Primordial Glyph can bail her out. Is Rainad BMing by not passing here? Oh no, it's Eloise's turn.
Right. She's just thinking of any possible way to make it out. Nope, no way against these can't be targeted cards.
All right, GG's all around. Rainad is able to secure his position as captain of Tempo Storm. I believe Eloise said that if she wins, she could become captain.
Hey, are you insulting the Lich King?
No, I'm just saying
No,
that
no,
Rainad
what team
held up
did you
his
say
end
they're
of the
Tempo
deal.
Storm?
Oh, Frozen Throne.
Yeah,
Oh, I
whose team are you
apologize.
on, Frodan?
I'm going to have to redo that line. Rainad gets to secure his spot on Frozen Pwn. I believe that is the deal that he made with the Lich King. And Eloise has to wait for another day in order to claim the throne for herself. All right, so thanks so much, guys, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed our card reveal. Big shout out to Blizzard for allowing us to reveal these cards. It's been really fun. And, of course, if you guys want more content, make sure to check out all of our stuff on YouTube and Twitch and support the team. We love being part of the Hearthstone community, and this has been really fun. So from Frodan and Trump and everyone else here at Frozen Pwn, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.